Thank you. Thank you very much for holding this hearing. I'm honored to represent the Chicago Police Department and to speak on behalf of those who often feel unheard, those sons, those daughters, those mothers, those fathers behind the badge, risking their lives every day to protect our communities. Policing is a dangerous job, and while it is our job to protect our communities, we cannot underestimate the emotional toll it has on our officers. We're the ones responding to victims, processing crime scenes, taking those images home with us, and putting that uniform back on the very next day. Those experiences, they stay with us forever, bearing an impact words can never express. Not every officer is physically injured in a violent encounter, but every officer endures the emotional scars of repeated exposure to violence. And this is one of the toughest times to wear the badge. This year alone, Chicago police officers have been shot at 36 times, with 7 of those struck by gunfire. In the last 2.5 years, our officers have taken more than 24,000 guns off the streets of Chicago. I'm joined today by my fellow officers, including Deputy Chief Patrina Wines, who last year was shot in the line of duty. I'm also joined by Ms. Elizabeth French, the mother of our fallen hero, Officer Ella Grace French. Almost 1 year ago today, Officer French and her partner, Officer Carlos Yanes Jr., were shot in the line of duty. Officer French lost her life to the wounds she sustained, and each day Officer Yanes and his family continue to heal from and adapt to his catastrophic and lasting injuries. Officer Joshua Blas, Ella's partner and friend, sprang into action and helped to save Officer Yanes' life. Although Joshua did not sustain a gunshot wound, the emotional toll he will have to endure from that incident cannot be overstated. These are the moments we know can happen, but we hope they never happen. Ella was a source of light and joy for all who knew her. Her partner Carlos remarked that she was beautiful inside and out. Josh shared her love of animals and how she lived to help others. Her friends say her bubbly spirit was a constant, no matter the situation. Carlos comes from a police family, and his colleagues have always admired his determination. In fact, when his doctor told him he'd never be able to use the left side of his body, Carlos said, "I accept that challenge." He danced with his wife in March of this year. Carlos continues to recover with his family and remains a source of inspiration for our department. Early in my career, my partner and I were responding to a call of a woman crying for help. We encountered an offender with a gun. I ordered him to drop that weapon. He lowered his weapon as if he was about to drop it when suddenly he fired around in my direction. I still remember the look on his face before he fired, and I felt around before I heard the shot. I thought my vest had absorbed the bullet. What I didn't realize was the bullet pierced through the side of my chest and traveled and collapsed my lungs. I radioed my location, and later I learned that I had inadvertently radioed my mother's home address. The injuries sustained from this incident remain with me today professionally, physically, and in the private corners of my mind. I still struggle with my wounds, as many officers around the country are struggling from their injuries, the injuries they've sustained, and the traumatic human experiences they witness every single day on the job. They do this while trying to balance the realities of the noble profession with their everyday lives. You can't exaggerate the impact that our experiences with crime and violence has on us. Protecting those that protect us has to be a priority. I can't help to think about Officer French and all the officers whose families have been left without them. I think about Miss French when she shared how Ella became a police officer to make communities safer, and her response to today's hearing by saying, quote, "It was important to Ella Grace to get as many weapons off the streets as possible. Her death and that of so many other innocent people are why we must keep working to get guns off the streets. It is a piece of the puzzle, and the reason that I'm willing to be here is to help something good come out of the death of my dear daughter, Ella Grace," end quote. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share with all of you here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief Navales, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Officer